And as you can see, the 4K Firestick MAX also supports widgets. So brand new 4K Firestick MAX. The first thing you want to know is how much storage do you get on this device that's available for you to use. So before you install any applications or do anything on your device, how much storage do we have? Well, if I go to settings, My Fire TV, click on about, and we can see that we have a total of 4.2 gigs of free storage available. So as you guys know, the new device only comes with 8 gigs of storage, but again, you don't have 8 gigs of storage available to you. Out of the box, you only have 4.2 gigs for you to install your applications. And we can see on my device, it's already received another update. Next up, can you still sideload applications on this new 4K Firestick MAX? Well, the quick answer to that is yes. So on my clean device, as I mentioned before, I've not installed anything, but I can quickly search for downloader. I can now click on that, click on install, give that a second, and I must just say that just navigating around, clicking on things, installing things, it definitely does seem to be snappier than my 4K Firestick. Okay, so now before I click on open, I can now press the home key, go over to settings, go over to My Fire TV, go to developer options, and where it says install unknown apps, I can now click on that. We can see downloader is now listed. Click on that again. That now says on. So this basically means I can now use downloader to download content, maybe from my website, and then install that onto my 4K Firestick MAX. So sideloading or downloading third-party applications works absolutely fine on this new device. Next up, what's the actual software version of this new 4K Firestick MAX? Now this for me has to be one of the biggest plus points of this device, because the previous 4K Firestick was running FireOS 6, which is actually Android 7. But as we can see on this device, when I go to My Fire TV, we can see that it is running FireOS 7.2.5.5, which is actually Android 9.1. Now probably the biggest benefit of this version is we get native USB storage support. So as I'll show you in just a second, it's now ultra easy for you to add a USB drive to your Fire Stick, and you can then move applications from your smaller internal drive, internal storage, over to your USB drive without typing in any ADB command. So they really have made the process very easy, which I will be showing you in just a second. So it's great that the 4K Firestick MAX comes with FireOS 7. Next up we have, can you completely disable HDR on the 4K Firestick MAX? Now this may sound like a basic thing, but it's something that even the 4K Firestick still suffers with. So if I now go to display and audio, go to display, and where it says dynamic range settings always HDR, I can now click on that, and we actually have disable HDR. So on the other devices like the 4K Firestick, the only option we have is either always HDR or adaptive HDR. But if you don't have a HDR TV or you're not interested in that, with the new 4K Firestick MAX, we can now easily disable HDR. And we can see that's now done. I can click on confirm, and that's now fully disabled. So it's great that they finally listened to us and gave us this option to disable HDR. Next up, do you get any extra software features on this new 4K Firestick MAX? Because as you know, it is running FireOS 7, which is the same as the Firestick Lite and also the second generation Fire TV Cube. But one new feature that I have noticed is if you go over to settings, go over to display, and we can see that we now have a new audio and diagnostics feature. I can click on that, and this will now basically tell you, depending on where you've plugged in the Fire Stick, what your configuration is, what's currently available for you. Now in my example, because I've plugged the 4K Firestick MAX into a cheap capture card, we can see features like Dolby Atmos, Dolby Digital Plus. Those features are not available for me, but it does say that the max resolution I support is 4K. We can see I don't have Dolby Vision, and we've also deactivated the HDR. So if you're a bit of an audiophile or you really like the best quality content, it's great that we can see with this diagnostic tool, is Dolby Vision available for me, is Dolby Atmos, and so on and so forth. So it really is great that they put this feature into the 4K Firestick MAX, and we don't get this on any other device at the moment. Next up we have, can I actually tell the difference with this faster CPU and GPU on this Firestick MAX? Well, I've only had the device for a very short time, but I do have some videos lined up where I will be doing a side-by-side comparison of the 4K Firestick MAX versus the 4K Firestick, just doing your day-to-day normal tasks like launching applications, your third-party applications, doing Wi-Fi speed tests, maybe saving content to a USB drive, just so you can see in real life day-to-day tests how much faster this device is, and even other tests like the 4K Firestick MAX versus the second generation Fire TV Cube, and even the 4K Max versus the Nvidia Shield. So if you guys are interested in those side-by-side comparisons, then make sure you are subscribed with all notifications so you know exactly when those videos drop. But I can tell you straight away what I've used so far, it is definitely snappier than the 4K Firestick. Moving around, opening up applications, it definitely is without a doubt faster than the 4K Firestick, but the question always is how much faster we're talking about. So again, those videos are coming. Next up we have, can you still use a custom launcher on the new 4K Firestick MAX? So maybe you don't like all of these sponsored content, all of these promoted applications. Well, the quick answer to that is, if I open up Launcher Manager, go to Launcher Options, click on Enable Custom Launcher, click on OK. I can now press the home key. We are straight into a custom launcher, and as you can see, the 4K Firestick MAX also supports widgets. So that's something that you guys on the 4K Firestick have been waiting for a very long time, and as you can see on the 4K Firestick MAX, we get that feature or functionality baked into the product and ready to use. And lastly, and probably the most important, how easy is it to expand the storage of this new 4K Firestick MAX? Well, right now I've just plugged in a standard USB drive into an OTG cable, plugged that into my 4K Firestick MAX. I can now go over to Settings, go over to My Fire TV, and we can see we now have a section called USB drive, and it's detected that I've plugged in a 32 gig USB drive. But I can now click on that. I can say format this drive as internal storage, and what that now means is I can use that USB drive to install applications onto, but I can also move applications from internal storage over to this drive. So let's click on that, and if any of you guys are still here with me, then if you drop a like on this video and leave the comment #Max, then I know you made it this far in the video, which I always appreciate. I'll then heart your comment. We get the message that the formatting is now complete. I can click on OK, and I can now go to manage my install applications. And here, for example, we can see a very large application. It's 154 meg in size. I can now click on that, and we now have a built-in move to USB storage option. So literally with one click, I can press on that, and that will now move the application over to my USB drive. So that itself, I think, really is the headline feature of this new 4K Firestick MAX, because storage has always been an issue on the 4K Firestick. Yes, you can use ADB in some of my previous tutorials, but just having this feature built in into the UI just makes the process so much easier, and I think for lots of you, you really will appreciate that. Now, for example, when I press back on the remote, we can see next to the application, we have a small USB logo, and that just confirms that this application has moved over to my USB drive. So that's all for this video, guys. Many thanks for watching. As I mentioned before, I do have some more videos lined up, which will give you a step-by-step guide on how you can expand the storage, how you can change the launcher, how you can debloat this new device. So again, if you guys are interested in that, make sure you are subscribed with all notifications, and I'll hopefully catch up with you guys real soon. Thanks.